What we eat is very important. It's also emotional for lots of us, but it's not always good for the planet. Anders Kløcker is Director of Innovation with the Danish Agriculture and Food Council. Heather Mills, you all know her, activist and entrepreneur. Maya Leinenbach, a food blogger with, I believe, 4 million people watching what you're doing. And Wolfgang Grabher, CEO of Sun AG. Let me start with you, Wolfgang Grabher. Sun AG, you are also the creator of Sun Mini Meals. What is it? And specifically, you traveled to the Yukon last summer, I believe it was. What was the purpose of that trip?
Well, the purpose was to put awareness of a very important part, which my heart is involved since more than 15 years, and that's the fact that we are losing a lot of something very precious, and that's our foundation, our soil. When I learned that 50 years ago, we had around 3,800 square meters per person, and now we have left 1,700, meaning 1% every year is lost, and it takes 100 years to build 1 centimeter new soil. That made me create Sun Mini Meal because it's a very efficient food source. Very only 2 units, and it helps you. And
let me just add, it's these tiny, tiny, tiny things,
yes,
right?
Yes, it's all grown under the sun. That's why we are called Sun. And the reason why we went to Yukon, and I took a lot of really nice people with me, really to show and bring it to their hearts and to create a coffee table book, which we are happy to release today in a press conference. And it's about that the gold rush is not about gold. And many people traveled to Yukon and were running after gold. And when they reached the final destination, all the gold, all the claims were gone, and 1 apple cost 1 ounce of gold. And that was the reason why we did this.
Why you did it to the Yukon. Heather Mills, activist and entrepreneur. What companies do you own and what do they produce?
So I own a company called V-Bites and No Bloat, and we've been in the food production for over 33 years. I lost my leg and healed myself on plant-based, but I was as ignorant as most at the time that I was affecting the planet, and I did it for health, and then eventually healed myself and created the first commercial vegan burger that became the first McDonald's vegan burger, then the Burger King vegan burger, then the Domino's vegan cheese. And I started to see that because everyone was addicted to fast food, the only way to get them off it was to take them from the heroin to the methadone. And then eventually, once they were on the methadone, that wasn't ideal, was to move them over to plant-based. But then I realized that it needed to be commercially viable and cost-effective for the end consumer. So I created vegan cheeses made from 60% upcycling. So the leftover carrot peel, the leftover tomato skins would create 60% of our product. And then we created the first vegan egg that was the first vegan product that was less expensive than a real egg. If you think about you're feeding the chicken, you're taking the egg, boiling the egg, peeling the egg and putting it into a sandwich. In England, we eat, one company, 270 million egg sandwiches a year. So I looked at carbon footprint, ticking the financial box, and creating a non-antibiotic, no cholesterol, clean egg. That now goes next year into 40% of all egg sandwiches. So that will reduce intensive farming and creates a food solution that's healthier for you, your family, and the planet, and is more cost effective. And that's the reality. You have to create food production in an innovative way that can ultimately be cost effective. So it's joining the dots and taste delicious.
And as Arnold Schwarzenegger said, communication is a main factor, a key factor. Maya Leinenbach, you communicate beautifully with people. You're a food blogger, a very successful food blogger. How did you start this career?
So I started when I was 14, so yeah, quite a long time ago.
Not that long ago.
No. And back then I was still in school, and I had to do a school presentation about how food impacts our environment, especially what we eat. And I was a bit struck by the information I found and by how much we can do by changing what we eat. And back then I was 14, I couldn't vote, I couldn't have a big impact by myself, so I thought, I'm just going to try to eat plant-based now and share it via social media with the world, and maybe I can use that as a source of inspiration for others to have an impact, even though I'm still too young to vote and to be part of politics, but to use the platforms we have today to inspire others.
Thank you. Anders Kløcker, totally different level. You're the Director of Innovation at Danish Agriculture and Food Council, and you have an action plan, a Danish action plan for plant-based food. What is it?
Well, it's not our plan in my organization. It's the plan of the Danish government, drawn up based on an agreement in our parliament, a broad agreement, to have this action plan made that points out ways to develop plant-based food, not in contradiction to the livestock production, but as a supplement. And it contains one very important initiative, which is a plant-based food grant, which is like 170 million euros up till 2030 to invest in projects developing production and consumption of plant-based foods. And just to put it in perspective, would that be at the same level in the EU as a whole? It would be like $10 billion euros up till 2030, or $11 billion in the US. So it's a substantial investment in developing this area of food production for the sake of climate and also consumer health.
And it works?
Well, it certainly works, but it's early days still. We're 2 years into the plan, but we will have a lot of activities, and I'm sure we'll get far.
Heather Mills?
I just want to say one comment on that, and that's what's really important in this plant-based sector. And, you know, the meat and dairy industry are a community and they work together. The biggest weakness in the plant-based sector when we gave the Americans the Beyond Meat was they all sat like Gollum from The Ring going, it's mine, keeping it to themselves. So I would highly suggest that all the countries get together and share their innovation and share what they've created. You know, all my profits go to charity, so I don't care who uses it. It's like, let's save the planet, the animals, and people's health. So those kind of countries that are doing what you're doing is fantastic. But a lot of the innovation has already been done, but they're in countries that don't support it. So if you need any help to not waste money creating something that we already did 20 years ago and are now creating what is required for the next 10 or 20 years, then communication, as Arnold said, is key. And the problem in the plant and environmental and vegan sector is there are lots of bubbles and they need to join together. It's a bit like if Britain followed Singapore, you know, just on key things. If everybody started communicating and saying, oh, I'll take that because that's genius from your country, I'll take this from that, we would help the climate, the animals, and the planet.
That's just a question to you. Do you have any plans of exporting your model to other European countries?
Yes, we are unstoppable.
Of course.
Yes, actually. Yes, we have. We have built an alliance in Denmark called the Danish Plant-Based Diplomacy. It's on an initiative taken by the Vegetarian Society of Denmark, who invited an organization like mine. I represent the farmers and the food companies, and honestly, they are predominantly based on the livestock production for many, many years. So it seems like a counterintuitive move to build an alliance across so different organizations, and we are more organizations as well. But it really works to have a dialogue. And we still respect each other, and we have room to maneuver according to our own interests, but we want to do this together. And this has turned out to be, I feel, a very interesting scene from many other EU countries' perspective, because we see a lot of confrontation in this area. But we can get much further if we cooperate, and so we travel around into other EU countries, and we have designated workshops, seminars, roundtables to convey the message and to transfer our best experience on how to move ahead with this policy in all the countries. And also the Danish government has committed itself, based again on a broad political agreement in our parliament, to move to work towards an EU action plan for the plant-based food development.
Convey the message. Yes, please. Convey the message, you said. You have a lot of experience with conveying the message. What is the best way to motivate people to actually make conscious decisions when it comes to food?
So I have a very positive approach when it comes to inspiring others. I think showing them that changing, for example, your diet doesn't have to come with sacrifice. You can do it in a fun, delicious ways when we talk about food. And that's also my way to do it. I just want to show the people that you can change the world, essentially, because, I mean, we eat 3 times a day. Every time we eat, we have a choice if we want to support climate change or if we want to fight it. And this doesn't have to be like, oh, damn, I'm just eating a salad now. It can be fun. It can be exciting. You can have a very nice meal with it. And that's just what I'm trying to do with my videos, to show fun ways and to show that, yeah, changing the world, if we all do it together, can be something fun.
Fun and delicious, sometimes, most of the time. Heather Mills, how do you motivate people? Sorry? How do you motivate people to actually follow?
I mean, when I first lost my leg and became vegan, I was like, you got to do this, you got to do that. And people thought I was crazy back in 1993. So I started playing with food in the kitchen, and exactly what you said. I would, you know, date people that weren't vegan and then feed them great food, and then they became vegan, and then I'd move on to the next one. So you just kept feeding them. This one I'm happy with, by the way. But I would just create the product. So when I met my current partner, he loved McDonald's, he loved Burger King, he loved this. So I just created those junk foods in a healthier way and then moved them on. And that was the solution to the problem of people having an emotional connection to their food. So when you're young and you're sitting around the table with your family, it's such a wonderful social communicative connection that when you're told when you're older, you shouldn't eat that schnitzel, you shouldn't have that, you shouldn't eat this, people then don't do it, they don't listen, and they don't have the willpower. But if I'm going to make a Schwarzenegger schnitzel, for example, then it's basically, they're going to eat it because it tastes delicious. So we've replicated 350 alternates in great tasting food. The dip that happened was lots of corporates came and replicated in a bad way and took the business backwards. So we created, when you're talking about cooperative farming, I work with loads of farmers. So Tine, who own Norseland, who own Applewood brand, took me 5 years to convince them to do a vegan cheese slice, which we own the IP for. We drove it through the supermarkets. It sold more than the dairy cheese. So they got a piece of the vegan pie and suddenly are investing more and more into plant-based innovation. So that's how we do it. Give them the solution, and it has to taste great and be cost-effective. Simple as that.
Sounds great. Wolfgang Grabher, you talked about soil earlier, precious soil, how precious it is. How can you, or how do you want to make people aware of the fact that soil is actually precious?
Well, first of all, the motto of last year was be useful. So I founded a non-profit organization myself, and I donated like up to 2030, I committed $25 million to put the awareness exactly to where it needs to be, to really tell the people that it is important. So what we've done last year is we created a study where we showed what is the footprint of the normal food, the way how people eat today. And now we show with some mini meal an option which is very healthy, which saves every little unit, and we have the study, it's 3.5 to 6.5 times more effective, and it saves 1 square meter. So soil is the solution for pollution, or it's one good solution for pollution. And that's what we do. We tell the people it's important to eat healthy, and we make it more delicious. So I agree with Heather Mills, it needs to taste good. And we had a rocky way. Boy, it didn't taste good in the beginning, but I fought it through. And now we have with Swiss chocolate, we cover it. We have a blueberry, white choc, and it tastes just delicious. We just gave away 40,000 units on Schalke, which is a soccer club. We've been sponsor for 2 years, and they love it. So you need to have something that people love to make it work. So we're very proud to have achieved that.